By the time police arrived at Bridgeton City Park in New Jersey, 5-year-old Dulce Maria Alavez was already gone. Her tiny footprints simply stopped in the dirt, as if she had been lifted into thin air. No screams, no struggle, no sign of where she went. It became one of the most chilling disappearances in modern America, because she didn't vanish in the dead of night or from a secluded place. She disappeared in broad daylight, in a playground full of children, and somehow no one saw the exact moment she was taken. Before we go deeper into this disturbing story, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel right now. These cases deserve to stay alive, and your support helps more people learn the truth behind them. Now, let's continue. September 16, 2019. A warm, late summer day. One of those days that feels too good to waste inside. 19-year-old Noma Alavez Perez had just picked up her daughter Dulce and her 3-year-old son from school. The plan was simple. Go get ice cream, then play for a bit before heading home. Bridgeton City Park was a familiar spot to them. A place filled with laughter, families, and kids burning off energy. A place that always felt safe. Dulce, wearing a bright yellow shirt with a big smiley face on it, ran ahead full of excitement. Her little brother followed behind. They climbed the jungle gym, swung on the swings, and ran around the slide. Just 2 children enjoying a beautiful afternoon. Noma stayed close by in the car, scratching lottery tickets with her younger sister, glancing up every so often to check on the kids. They were right there. Nothing seemed unusual. Nothing seemed dangerous. At around 4:20 p.m., she looked up again, and her heart sank. Her son was standing there crying, alone. Dulce was nowhere to be seen. Noma rushed toward him, panic already rising inside her chest. "Where's Dulce? Where's your sister?" she asked, frantic. Her son pointed toward a nearby storage building and managed to say that a man had taken her. Noma's world flipped upside down. She screamed Dulce's name over and over as she ran across the playground, through the field, and around every corner she could think of. It didn't matter how loud she yelled. There was only silence. Dulce was gone. Noma grabbed her phone and called 911, her voice shaking, struggling to explain what had just happened. Police arrived within minutes. Officers searched every inch of the park. They shouted Dulce's name. They combed the trails and the wooded areas. Search dogs were brought in and briefly picked up her scent near the playground. But then the trail suddenly vanished near a pathway that led directly to the parking lot. Investigators immediately knew what that meant. Dulce didn't just wander away. Someone had taken her, and that person had a car waiting. Whoever took her came prepared. As police spoke to people at the park, a disturbing detail surfaced. A child had seen a man watching the kids earlier. A light-skinned Hispanic man, 5'6" to 5'8", thin build, wearing a black shirt and black pants. He had been near a red or maroon van with a sliding door. He hadn't been seen grabbing Dulce, but he had been seen looking, observing, waiting. That sighting would become the only major description police had. As the sun set that night, officers continued searching, but there was still no sign of Dulce. Hours had passed, and with every passing moment the chances of finding her safe were slipping further away. Despite this, the Amber Alert wasn't issued until nearly 6 hours after she vanished. A delay that outraged locals and later became one of the most heavily criticized parts of the investigation. News spread quickly. Hundreds of volunteers joined the search. Drones scanned the river. The woods surrounding the park were searched again and again. Flyers with Dulce's photo covered the town overnight. But while the search grew, so did suspicion. And that suspicion wasn't directed at a stranger. It was directed at Noma, the terrified young mother desperately searching for her child. People questioned why she stayed in the car, why she didn't notice sooner, why she didn't seem emotional enough on camera. Social media exploded with accusations. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed she sold her daughter. Others said she knew the kidnapper. She even received threats from strangers who believed she was hiding the truth. The community that should have lifted her up turned on her instead. Law enforcement made it clear publicly that Noma was not a suspect. But the damage to her reputation and emotional well-being was already done. On top of losing her daughter, she was now forced to defend herself to the world. Meanwhile, investigators continued working under a chilling assumption. Whoever took Dulce knew what they were doing. The abductor struck at the exact moment Noma's eyes were turned away. They acted swiftly and silently. They didn't leave a trace. This felt planned. Someone might have been watching Dulce before that day, observing her routines, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Police explored every possibility. A stranger predator lurking at the park, someone from the family's circle with a dark motive, or even a human trafficking network targeting young children. None of the theories were far-fetched anymore. For days passed with no answers. Police searched the park again, the river again. They expanded the investigation into nearby towns and across state lines. Nothing. It was as if Dulce had been swallowed by the earth. Noma, exhausted and emotionally destroyed, appeared on television through tears, pleading, "Bring her home. Please, bring my baby home." The trembling in her voice made it clear she would give anything to turn back time to that one terrible moment, when she looked away for just a few minutes. But despite the desperate search, despite nationwide attention, and despite the reward money climbing higher, investigators were stuck. Too many rumors, too many false leads, too many conflicting stories, and not one solid answer. Every parent who heard the story felt the same fear. If a child can be taken that fast from a place that felt that safe, then no child is ever truly safe. Days turned to weeks. The red van and the suspicious man were never found. The scent trail that disappeared near the parking lot told a haunting story. Someone took Dulce, and they were already gone before anyone could do a thing about it. Today, Bridgeton City Park still stands. Children still play there. But the people who know what happened can't look at that playground without remembering the little girl with the yellow smiley face shirt and the bright brown eyes who ran ahead toward the swings and never came back. As we continue with this case, the twists only get darker. A mysterious teenage girl will come forward claiming to know Dulce's location. A psychic will make a claim so disturbing police have to follow up. And investigators will begin to question whether the abduction was truly random at all. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Soon we will uncover the leads that changed everything, and the heartbreaking truths investigators were forced to confront. Don't miss it, because somewhere out there, someone knows exactly what happened to Dulce Maria Alavez. And until the truth comes out, this case will never rest. She would have turned 7 this year, yet her laughter is frozen in time, still echoing over the empty playground of Bridgeton City Park where she vanished. Investigators believe by the time the first searchlights flickered on, someone had already moved her far beyond that familiar patch of grass. In the early hours after the disappearance of Dulce Maria Alavez, detectives questioned whether this was not a chance abduction, but a calculated operation. The suggestion that a child could be snatched from a park in broad daylight, without a struggle, without a trace, forced a traumatic realization. The risk of organized trafficking might have come for her. A dark red or maroon van is still in file photos, described by a witness as having a sliding door, parked suspiciously near the playground at around 4:20 p.m. on September 16, 2019. The man inside, a light-skinned Hispanic male, 5'6" to 5'8", thin, wearing dark clothing, did not grab Dulce in plain sight. He watched, he waited, and when Noma looked away, he acted. Investigators openly say this fits the pattern of child traffickers. Fast, quiet, deliberate. The FBI added Dulce's case to its kidnap investigations and offered a reward for credible information. If you believe every missing child deserves a voice, and that stories like Dulce's matter beyond views, subscribe now, and help ensure this case is never forgotten. The case took on new layers when authorities reported that they had traced leads across 11 states and into Mexico. The search for Dulce moved beyond New Jersey woods into the borderlands of possibility. Was she transported across state lines? Was she sold or hidden in plain sight? Could the van have crossed the Delaware Bay Bridge and headed toward distant territories? With each mile, the investigation expanded. The hope dimmed and the urgency grew. Why was the Amber Alert so delayed? Why did 6 hours pass before the signal that could galvanize the nation was sent out? Some critics argued that the delay gave the abductor time to vanish. The delay also reflects a troubling truth. When the missing child is minority Hispanic, media pressure and systemic urgency often lag. Organizations like the Black and Missing Foundation highlight that cases involving children of color typically receive less national pushback. Inside the investigation room, detectives found files, digital records, and social media posts tied to the time frame. One tip led to a screenshot of a maroon van seen near a Texas trailer park. Another surfaced in Ohio. A photograph of a girl who resembled Dulce exiting the red van at a fast food parking lot. None of these proved the connection, but everyone tugged on the thread of a network that traffickers rely on. The FBI described the case as crime of opportunity inside an infrastructure of child exploitation. Meanwhile, Dulce's mother, Noma Alavez Perez, continued to press the search. She went on national TV, passed out flyers, posted age progression photos that show what Dulce might look like today. She begged for help. Her voice cracked when she said she had replayed the moment 1,000 times. One moment she was sliding, one breath later, she was gone. The power of her plea amplified when she said, "If she's alive, I'll know her laugh." Community volunteers held candlelight vigils on anniversaries. Social media groups multiplied. One group encouraged posters in Spanish and English, recognizing how Dulce's bilingual family and Hispanic neighborhood could be both a strength of support and a barrier of distrust with law enforcement. Many immigrants remained silent, fearing questions about their status. The missing child advocacy groups pushed for safe reporting channels to ensure no tip was lost because someone feared deportation. On September 16, 2022, 3 years after the disappearance, an age progression image was released, what Dulce might look like at 8 or 9. It was a painful moment for the family and the school she never attended. The image circulated widely, reigniting the public's memory. Investigators hoped that someone somewhere would recognize the face and the name and call in. Investigative files revealed chilling but unconfirmed details. Dulce's medical appointments were missed. She required medications. There were reports she was locked inside the home, isolated from normal play. One of the siblings whispered, "There's no Dulce." The phrase echoed in the courtroom filings. Investigators call it a pattern of neglect and cover-up rather than an isolated incident. This isn't just about abduction, it's about systems failing before the van pulled away. Parents and caregivers, take note. The biggest danger may be inside the home or familiar places, not only in strangers outside. A child who disappears from routine or stops being visible isn't just shy. They may be hidden. Checking in matters. Remember, it doesn't take hours, it takes seconds for a predator to act. As public effort continued, investigators also scoured border checkpoints, trucking lanes, and bus stations across the southern migration routes. Tips suggested Dulce might have been taken across state lines, hidden in plain sight, or trafficked in an underground network. None of the paths led to her, but each one raised stakes. The regional reward climbed. The public tip line rang in 60,000 leads and counting. False leads flooded investigators. Social media claims of Dulce spotted in Florida malls, Texas parking lots, even abroad. One tip posted by a user claiming, "I found Dulce," turned out to be unrelated, but cost precious investigative hours. Law enforcement officials say the noise of false hope slows the real chase. The urgency built up in the community, but so did frustration. As night fell on the 3rd anniversary, the park lights of Bridgeton stood gray and still. A small memorial stone sat by the slide where Dulce last played. Her missing child poster faded at the base of a tree, and a neon sign blinked on a neighboring store. 60,000 plus leads received. Keep sharing. Many children will never return from a day's play if someone knows how to pick the perfect moment. When the parent looks away, when no one notices, when a van slides silent into the shadows. Dulce's case is a clarion call. Protect the moments you don't see. Clock the time. Notice the van. Name the face on the bench. Ask question, act. Next we will dive into the current status of the investigation, the change in law prompted by this case, and how you can still help keep Dulce's name alive. Because the longer a child stays missing, the darker the risk becomes, and the more people must refuse to look away. Weeks became months. The playground where Dulce vanished became a place families avoided. Parents kept their kids closer. The community realized this wasn't a story on the news. This happened right here, in broad daylight, with witnesses, and somehow no answers. Detectives worked every possible angle. They chased the idea of an opportunistic kidnapping, a predator waiting for the perfect moment. They investigated a theory that Dulce was targeted by someone who had been watching her family. They examined multiple reports of strange men near playgrounds across New Jersey in the days before she disappeared. But the most disturbing theory was human trafficking. The FBI became heavily involved. Agents warned that children taken for trafficking are often moved quickly, sometimes across state lines within hours. That could explain why Dulce vanished without a trace. Why no physical evidence was found. Why the trail went cold almost instantly. Then came a haunting twist. A type of letter arrived claiming Dulce was alive. It suggested she had been taken by someone her family once trusted. Investigators never confirmed it publicly, but it reminded everyone that someone out there knows exactly what happened. And they're staying quiet. To this day, no arrests, no confirmed suspects, no sign of Dulce. Her mother still believes her daughter is alive, somewhere. And every year on her birthday, balloons rise into the sky, carrying a hope that feels more fragile with time. But this case cannot fade, because the person who took her could do it again. If you've watched this far, thank you. You are helping keep Dulce's name alive. Please don't let her be forgotten. Like this video so the story reaches more people. Comment anything, even just her name. And if you know anything, contact authorities. Someone out there can bring this little girl home. Stay safe, stay aware, and never stop paying attention, because sometimes the most ordinary places hide the darkest dangers.